Hey, everybody. Well, Jimmy's not here today, so I'm going to have to try to do the best I can without him. I find that when Jimmy is here, we can kind of bounce off and he can give me some ideas, and usually the show goes a little smoother, I think. So by yourself, I don't know if you guys have ever done this before, but it's an hour, at least an hour. Sometimes we go an hour and 15 minutes, or one time we went an hour and a half, which I think is a lot to do live, but I'll do the best I can today as usual. I did want to cover some things first. And hello to everybody out there. I'll say hello in the comment section. This is a show, a question and answer show for Upholstery on Broadway online classes and Broadway Upholstery School, Facebook, and also YouTube. So we cover all those in this question and answer. So if you have questions about any of those, just put them in the hi Daphne, thanks, and put them in the comment section as you see on YouTube, and we'll try to answer them as best we can. I always like to direct people to Facebook, where we have a great forum there with a lot of people, including Daphne and Randy. Hi, Randy, he just chimed in, and I think it's a great resource, a free resource. I like the word free. I'm sure you guys do too, especially when it comes to learning. When you think about it, an education is expensive, right? So the only thing that you pay for would be the online classes that are at Upholstery on Broadway or supplies. I have to check the supply costs, by the way. They keep going up, and we can't keep up with them because we're just we're a small business. Sometimes I can't keep up with all of the changes. So let me, speaking of the online classes, I just talked to Patrick and we were talking about that. And what did I do with it? He's going to be posting the last segment of Jimmy's class, I think it's May 7th. So you might want to watch out for that. Hi, Deborah from Idaho. I was thinking about you actually a little bit earlier. I told you I knew an upholsterer from Idaho, and for some reason he didn't like me. But it dawned on me we were very much alike. And I think I don't know if you guys have ever met anybody that's like you, and sometimes for the one person doesn't get along with. It's a weird thing. Seinfeld did a segment on it. It's kind of funny. I like Seinfeld for its observational humor. I think we could apply a lot to it, our own lives sometimes. But this fellow that I knew was a really top-notch upholsterer, and he was fast. Blair, we're going to get to a posting by Blair on Facebook, and he's just saying how slow he feels he is. He's just starting. Speed comes later. This when you get into it a little bit, like Daphne, you get into it about 5 to 10 years. You start really getting good. Um, really start getting faster speed, and it almost like the Japanese have a word for it. It's called shibumi, and it means a state of effortless perfection. And you guys all have other things that you do. I'm sure that you've experienced this. Hopefully, it doesn't happen often with people, but it was referred to with the samurai, and how it was almost like out of body. They were actually watching their hands work. It's kind of like that when you get to a certain point in almost any trade. I think upholstery's no exception. This guy had it, man. He was just so fast, almost like you could blindfold him, and he would do a great job. So it's pretty amazing what human beings can accomplish if they really want to. And I knew a guy in my hometown. He had one arm, and he built his own home. And this was a few years ago, and for 3 or 4 generations, people lived in that house. So, hi, Wes. We were just talking a little bit. This is the opening where we talk about the YouTube. By the way, did I mention we have 18,500, almost to 19,000 subscribers? So please subscribe if you like any of the videos that we have. If you like this question and answer, if you like the services that we provide, most of it, 90% of it is free, including this that we do. If you like that, please subscribe. If you've liked, we know we get a lot of one-time watches on YouTube, and we really help them. Like we could save them hundreds of dollars. So perhaps those one-time people can subscribe if we've saved them money. If you're watching this, for instance, You have a button that needs to be fixed. We have at least 2 videos on how to fix just a pop button. So you can look at that and save some money if that's your problem. There are other things. I had a woman come in the shop. I want to talk a little bit about the daily goings on of the shop today, and something that I've had a little bit of a difficult day today from a work standpoint, but I want to talk about that. So the woman came in, she bought 3 cushions, and I want to talk about her in a little while. But I gave her some loose Dacron to take home because she was saying that she had these back attached cushions with zippers on the bottom, and she wanted to know if I would sell her those too. So I said, no, you could do this yourself. I gave her the Dacron. I told her how to do it. Unzip it halfway and put the Dacron in. And the idea is to raise the whole thing up. Semi-attached cushions aren't a great idea, but it's great that it had a zipper. It's the only reason she could do it, and she did it. I came in the house; it looked like it was brand new. I hadn't seen her what she had done yet. But I want to talk about that after I get through the first segments here. And hello, everybody. Thank you for joining me. Deborah says we have a blind guy who machines on cars. You mean he works on cars? He's a blind mechanic. Is that what you mean, Deborah? I believe it. So let's see. What's the other thing? Oh, I want to talk. I might as well talk about this. What today's adventure. So I had these 3 custom cushions for a leather sofa. They were spring and down cushions. They came out great. And the customer I had to go. The customer's a little older, so I offered. And this is what if you're just starting out, like Blair. If you're just starting out in business, I definitely would advise you to kind of follow suit with what I do, is just customer service. And if you have a problem, today is an indication after over 43 years, almost 44 years in this business, I still have a customer service excellence. Not just saying that to brag, but it really, after today, you guys will hear, I still follow through on what I was taught, how to treat people and how to do this right, customer service. Well, anyhow, so I offered, the first thing I did. So I offered, she's about, I don't know, 10 miles away from the shop. So I offered to take the 3 cushions to her and fill them in the house. So I get to the house. I saw that the job that she had done on her own. The back cushions looked great. I went to open one of the cushions, and the old down cushions had split wide open, and the down started to fly out. I quickly zipped it up. I said, "You're not going to like me very much if I undo the rest of these, and you're going to have down all over your house. I have to take them back to the shop." So this is second customer service. I have to take the 3 cushions back to the shop. So I was thinking on the way back, how am I going to do this? Because it's going to be a mess. I don't know if you guys have ever had this happen to you, but it is a mess. So I have this plywood board in the van. So I use that to slide furniture in so it doesn't catch on the rubber mat that a van has. So I figured, okay, I'm going to get to the shop because I have to do this fast too. Because technically, I've lost money on this job. The profit's already gone because this is going to be another delivery and labor. So I get to I'm thinking, how am I going to do this? So I had the idea that I'm going to back the van up into the back of the building. I'm going to take this plywood off the back, open the 2 doors, take the plywood off, set up a horse, do my cushions outside. So undo the cushions, all the down goes flying all over the place. I have to clean the interior of the cushions. I take all the down out. I fill with the new cushion. I get a plastic bag. I have to bring them back into the shop. Hold on a second. After I fill them, I clean up, which was a mess because I don't think the neighbors are going to like goose down flying around all their backyards. It was a little windy today too, so I had to clean up. I had to take the cushions back into the shop and use the blower on the compressor because the bottom of most leather cushions have a fabric so that that's how it's done properly. You can't just have a complete leather cushion. I mean, you could put breathers in them, but breathers, I don't like breathers. The way I would do it, and the way this manufacturer, it's like a $10,000 sofa. They put fabric on the bottom. It's fabric that they put uh, it really catches everything, including the little fibers in the wood that I didn't even think about it. So here I am. I spent at least an hour cleaning off those little particles of wood. which, by the way, Blair, be careful. Anybody opening up a business, I do not suggest to do woodwork around any fabric for this reason. These little wood fibers get caught in the fabric, and you're better off just if you're going to do that, offer that as a service. Be in an outbuilding or something where you cut it, where you cut the wood. It's just a great tip. So I spent another hour doing that. So meanwhile, it's the original was 9 o'clock. The delivery was 9 o'clock. So now it's about 11 o'clock. I've got two other deliveries to do, so I'm late. So I go back, I package them all up, go back to the house and put them in place. So this was like 9, 10, 11, 2.5 hours by the time I was done, so um, but why, you might ask, why didn't I put it aside and do it another time or do it at night? It's because this is the customer service. You have a customer that doesn't have any cushions, just do it, get it done. Take care of your problems. They should be your first priority in this business. That's where I was taught, and you know what? You feel better after it. I got a. It was funny. She even gave me $100 tip, which I the owners usually don't get tips. Patrick can get a tip if he's helping me. He usually does. I guess he has his hand out at the end of it. No, he doesn't. Hey, Naha Beth is here, and she's excited about that. Thanks. So 2.5 hours later, I fixed the problem. The feathers are all cleaned off. Not to mention, I had to clean myself off before I went back out. There, I got a couple of feathers in me. So that was just the start of my day. So then offering free pickup and delivery sometimes as a sales method. I want to say method. I don't want to say pitch. I don't want to say deceit because you're offering something for, again, a free, right? Um, Free pickup and delivery. When you're writing out a job and you give them, and people have the labor cost. Like I have a fan back. This person, after this, I went and picked up a chair. It's a beautiful fan back chair with all French nails. And by the way, the French nails were put on with that stuff you buy in the roll. Don't do that, you guys. If you're gonna do a French nail chair, make sure you do one at a time. It's gonna take you longer. It's gonna look so much better, and you're gonna feel so much better about yourself. We're talking about snow. Daphne was saying that it's actually snowed Easter. Was it Easter? Oh no, it was snowing here yesterday. Yeah, it snowed on Easter in New England where we are outside of Boston. And I'm not surprised that it's snowing out in Wisconsin, Randy. I think Randy said it was snowing in Wisconsin. Yeah. Um, so a beautiful fan back chair. So I'm writing out the job. It's with the nails, all the nails that are put on one at a time. I'm probably talking about maybe 500 to 700 nails on this chair. So I charged 1,200 and 6 yards of fabric. She paid $440 for the fabric, and she's got the labor cost, which was 1,200. And sometimes there's a hesitation there. You know, so if you're going to say, okay, plus pickup and delivery. Oh, I forgot to add the actual cost of the tax on here too. Things like that. TACKS. I think a lot of times people will walk. So offering, you really need to understand your customer. And a lot of times I'm asking a customer before I offer that where they live first. I mean, if they live in Wisconsin, I can't offer free pickup and delivery. I'm sorry, Randy, but I'm not going to do that. So salesmanship, sales, customer service, paying your taxes, paying your employees, making sure your customers are happy. So I want to talk a little bit about all of those balls that are in the air when you own a business. And I think Randy and now Blair's learning this. And I'm glad to see. I'll get to the YouTube in a minute and the Facebook, that Randy has kind of picked up the baton in this regard. And I hope that he got that from me about customer service. But he said something on his Facebook page that you guys, I'll show you. So I'm really excited about that end of the business. So what does that mean at the end of the day? You're going to have, if you really stick in there and you really offer these services and you're making money, hopefully, you're going to be around for a long time because your reputation is important in this business or any business. The best form of advertisement we used to say is word of mouth, and I still think that's true. And what that translates into today, and I think Daphne could speak on this because I think she's a member of these neighborhood posts, right, Daphne? Um, Daphne, I'll tell that story, Daphne, about. I should tell it because it's related to what I'm talking about. No names mentioned, of course, but those neighborhood posts are like you're whispering in somebody's ear. It's your neighbor that's telling you, "Hey, this guy is okay. Treated me okay. His prices are a little high." I get that a lot. Prices are a little high, but he's worth it because he's got customer service. He's his word is his thing and whatever. So all that. So that's really important. Facebook is important too. I love the neighborhood lists are the best are the best. Yeah, and Randy has a good point. Word of mouth translates into written reviews, and I know so that's where it's different today, right, Randy? When I first started, it was strictly word of mouth, and the person I was working for, one of my mentors who owned a shop that I was in. This is what you had to do if you didn't have social media, and we didn't back then. So what he had to do was belong to every civic organization known to man, and I'm serious too. Hi, Pamela. He belonged to the Knights of Columbus. This is funny too, I think, because he belonged to the Masons. I think those are two contrary. He didn't care. Now that I think of it, that's pretty funny. He just wanted to join to do the networking, but the more I think about it, he was being a good neighbor by trying to reach out to those that he doesn't agree with, I guess. So he's a Masonic, Knights of Columbus. He was Jewish, so he belonged to every Jewish nighttime venture that you could imagine. Politically, this was in Newton, Mass, where I was from. He belonged to and supported he got behind people. He's just amazing. He was out. He literally was out almost every night of the week doing these things that, Randy, I guess that's one good thing about social media that I'll say. We don't have to do that. I don't even belong. I hate to say this, but I should belong to the Chamber of Commerce because I do agree with a lot of what they do, especially when they help people who are less fortunate. If somebody's down in their luck and they get stuck in your community, no matter where you are, the chamber, a lot of times the police will come to the chamber to ask them for help. And what that means is they come up with the money to help somebody maybe for a night or get them a warm lunch or whatever. But I should join again. I think in the beginning I did join, but I got busy. That's my excuse. But anyhow, so let's get to the YouTube. And as usual, if you guys want, hi everyone, Pamela says, and we got a good group. So thanks you guys. And as usual, the Facebook, I keep telling new people who are calling me and emailing me. The Facebook forum, I think, is one of the best to get quick answers. A lot of times I've noticed, I guess we're just too busy to answer every YouTube comment, and I'm really sorry about that. And a lot of people don't know that we have the question and answer on YouTube. So if you're watching this and you YouTube and you like the YouTube and you've seen videos, please comment on this, and we will definitely answer your comment on the question and answer live show. Um, and that's what I mean. Like right now, I'm going to go on here. Patrick sent me what he thought was all of the YouTube questions, and I know that there's more. We do miss them. There must be some lack of communication there, but let's just get to what Patrick said. Okay. Randy says, sometimes you just do things to get your name out there. It's interesting that Randy said that because when I first started in customer service, uh, there'd be a mistake. Maybe the piece of fabric would be put on wrong or something, and a customer um, would complain, and the boss would start to get mad at the guy who did it, and kind of as a protecting, the help, I would say, don't get mad. This is my opportunity to let them remember how well we handled the problem, right? Now this is really interesting. Oh, and Hannah Thanks, Hannah, because you've got a long name there. Hannah's a little easier. What was I talking about? Oh, I lost it. So Dylan says about the Celestra and cambric, the basics. He says in Australia we call the Celestra spun bond, and most of my bosses in the past have called it black blank. Ha ha ha. Yeah, because the Celestra, when compared with the cambric, and we talk about that. By the way, Patrick told me that we have at least 15 new videos that we recorded before he went away that about supplies. Somebody was asking, "Can you do more of those?" We have small, little, really small videos, really short videos about supplies. And if I have time today, I have my supplies list that I'd like to go over. I keep saying I'm going to get to that, and I never do. But expect more of that. So there's a lot of activity, you guys. There's a lot of activity in the YouTube. There's a lot of not as much activity for some reason on Facebook. I don't know what's going on with Facebook lately. There's not many people, new people, but maybe we've exhausted how many people are out there. Who knows? This is, let's face it, this is a limited market. We're not. Uh, if Patrick was working for somebody on a popular site, I was thinking about this today. With his editing skills, he probably would be. Don't tell him, you guys, because I'll lose him. But somebody would scoop him up in a heartbeat. But if he was selling other things other than, I mean, this is a very a specific, narrow, I think, a narrow trade or narrow subject matter. I don't know if you guys agree with that. So, so I was talking about my boss. Randy just reminded me. I have left my card in restaurant chairs in New York. I like that, Randy. Randy, I like the way you think. It's not who you gonna harm. You're not harming anybody. But anyhow, so the boss would start getting mad over a mistake, and I said, "No, this is my opportunity to take care of this fast." And this is the best reviews you get when you take care of a problem and you do it fast. People appreciate that because why? Because nobody else is doing it. Everybody else is saying, "Oh, that pain in the neck, I'm not gonna," and put it on the back burner. You know how many people I know that do that? And hey, kid, let them keep doing it. You're gonna be the one that takes care of your problems and you get more good reviews from having a small problem than you would if everything went well. Isn't that interesting? Usually it starts off with, these guys are great. I had a small problem. They took care of it right away. I can't believe how fast they took care of it, and I'm happy now. Something like that. So Randy says a number of other upholstery YouTube channels have not posted in months. Yeah, it's hard, Randy. It's hard to keep up with everything. And if it wasn't for Patrick's, youth and Michaela's youth, I probably would be one of them. I mean, you do need other people to motivate you when it comes to this type of stuff. You know, um, you have to be self-motivating, definitely in your work, right, Randy? I mean, it's never. I mean, like this morning, I wasn't feeling 100%, but I woke up and I said, I got all this stuff to do. I was thinking about those cushions. Then I had the problem, and got through that. Um, but the self-motivating part comes, I'm tired. And now it's 12 o'clock, and I'm two pickups behind. And I just self-motivated again. Grab a fruit salad or something to get yourself your sugar levels back up and get moving. For all you DIY people out there, I guess it's a little different for you because you're not under schedules. The stress levels low. I wish I was in a situation like that, really. I wish that I could just focus and not have the stress of a business behind it. But the fact is, you have a certain goals that you need to meet, and there's some stress involved. And of course, everybody has stress. You go to the doctor and complain about stress, they'll look at you and say, "So, welcome to the human race," right? Anyhow, at least we're doing right, Randy. We're doing, and Daphne and everybody else on the comment board, Hannah and Deborah, at least we're doing something that we love, right? That's important. What if you're in a job, and a lot of people are, that you hate all day long and have the stress? Talk about, that's like double stress to me. Hannah says, I've been seeing more booths and other food places that need some upholstery work, and I'm just an apprentice. I can't wait to finish my skills and get a card and place them in places like Randy. I guess we should, Hannah, give Randy some advice on the difference between commercial upholsterers and custom residential upholsterers, which was what I am. So, commercial upholstery is a whole different ballgame. It is a tough game. If you're young and you're an athlete and you're an upholsterer, you want to do that for about 10 to 15 years and build up a little capital behind you, and then maybe not retire but move into residential furniture. That's what I would do if I were just starting out and I had the skill level, because this is hard work. It's also very competitive. A problem that I didn't like, I was doing commercial work. Occasionally, I'll do a commercial job, depends on what it is, but not much. But if you are going to go into that, I know some upholsterers that just travel all the way. That they have a crew that travels around the whole country and stays at the hotel that they usually it's a hotel, that they're doing, and they stay in the hotel and finish the job. They come in. That's kind of like a traditional thing, and Europeans used to send uh, or European upholsterers used to come here hired by wealthy Americans and stay in their home until all the upholstery was done. And then I bet a lot of them didn't go back. I bet a lot of them stayed in this country. That was way back, though, probably 150 to 200 years ago. So let's get to the next YouTube. This is fun. I hope you guys aren't bored. I hope I'm not boring you guys. And if anybody has any questions, I like these little tidbits that people have about the business. And I sometimes you do it yourself. As I know Pamela, you do work and then you sell it in consignment stores. And I guess the stress there would be you need to fill that spot up with work, right? And so you have some pressure on you to do that. Some people Deborah says some people think they are one more important than others, no matter how much work they do before them, and they'll call 2 days after their order and say, "Yeah, I'm getting that." During the pandemic, um, it was probably the best time to do work, because people were so patient and understanding and all of that. It was like Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood in my shop, and then all of a sudden, 3 months after, it lifted a little bit. Boy, it's back. It's back with a vengeance. Like this, I didn't tell you that this woman whose cushions I did today called me twice and then came in to see. I didn't even have a chance to call her back to say that the cushions were done. And she visited me in the shop Saturday. So, oh, they're done. They're right there. Aren't they beautiful? I'll deliver them Monday. And then look what happened Monday. So it's starting. It's worse than it's ever been now. So that just means that you have to up your game from a customer service standpoint. It's somehow identify. They're quick to identify a customer that's in a hurry. So what you do, you put them ahead of the person that isn't in a hurry. You really need to. This is really tough for people starting out, and I'm really good at it. I'm really good at juggling around, and sometimes it does take that type of juggling around. I have to be honest; it's not done first come first serve. I'll be honest with you guys, not with me, because my volume is so great. And I'm going to go over some of the jobs I've got currently after I get through this, and you'll see what I mean. And Deborah has a good point. You never know what you're getting into with the job from the standpoint of the actual work and the people you're dealing with. Sometimes, that we're dealing with the public. This is tough. My wife always says to me, "Oh," she says, "you're dealing with the public." She's just amazed at the work and energy that it takes dealing with the public. Um, yeah, and then Pamela says monthly rent to pay on her consignment. Right, I'm lucky my work sells fairly quickly, and I always earn 6 to 8 times my rent owed. Wow, that's great. Well, I hope I helped you a little bit, Pamela, with that. I love hearing that stuff. I try to do a biggie and then throw in smaller jobs. That's right, Deborah. You really need to mix it up a little bit. Dining room chairs. I love dining room chair sets. I'm a hero with those things because if you're Irish, like I'm Irish descent. Uh, you spend all your time in the kitchen or the dining room. That's where there's no living room really. There's a living room, but you don't use it. So people who bring their chairs, they always think it's going to take as long as a sofa. Oftentimes they get those things out faster. There's a little bit more of a profit in them too, and you have to recognize that too, you guys. What is the most, Randy? I'll ask you, and I'll ask all of you. What do you think the most profitable job is? And I'll guys can weigh in on that. But anyhow, let's get back to um, the next one is from Candy. This we were just talking about fixing a pop button for free, which Patrick's got free within capital letters with exclamation point. And she says, I watched this video and it looks like it will work great for my project. I have one question: is this only for replacing the button, or will this create the tuft as well? I recently purchased a chair which needs. I can't read the rest of it, but you guys get it. Yes, it will fix the tufting. It will. It will fix if you have a button that's in the interior, you're going to have four pleats merging into that one button. It'll fix all four pleats. So you just have to make sure it's the slip knot's the key, and making sure that there's something behind it holding the slip knot. I mean, like that washer that I show you. I mean, the best thing is that German needle that we have online at the Upholstery on Broadway online. You can buy a kit. We have kits. Patrick's designed these kits for different projects, and that's one of them. So now we have the womb chair. This is funny, right, Randy? I think Randy made a comment on this one. As I was doing this, tools were flying everywhere. They were falling because that it's just one of those things. I've told you about womb chairs before. Well, let's just read what Mark says about the womb chair. He says, "Thank you very much for this set of videos. I have a womb chair and I wanted to know how to do this, and I will." I can't read the rest. I just made that up, you guys. Okay, now we get to Blair. So Blair is amazing. He's doing some amazing work, you guys. And if you want, you can go on. You can go on his Facebook. I've mentioned it before. He just says, I think he has two Facebook. I think he has a personal and a business, but this is Blair Gilly. And I'm not sure, this must be Broadway upholstery he's posted on. You see this, he's working on a very difficult piece. Not only is it a difficult piece, it has tufting on this. This is a little unusual, you guys. Tufting on the seat, tufting on the inside arms, but no tufting on the inside back, which is where you most likely would see tufting, right? I just want to catch up because I'm really interested in what Pam was talking about. If you guys aren't looking at the comments, drop-in dining seats are most profitable for me. One of the few custom jobs I like to accept. There you go. I would agree. I like a set of eight. You don't see a set of 10 that much, but a set of eight. Um, so you might want to. I get $90 minimum for those, and if they need work, they can go up to 150. So Pamela says she has a place up, and I don't mind. You guys can advertise on the comments. I'm pretty good about that. Anytime you want. And Randy, anybody, you guys can do that. Space in Grafton, Mass. You can tell people what the name of the place is if you want, Pamela. So if she's being nice, not meant. You can mention it. Space in the Grafton, Mass. Over 50 dealers, great traffic. The pandemic helped. And then Randy says the dining room seats are profitable as well as smaller side chairs. Yeah, because you can get them in and out quick, right? You could sell a little fabric along with it. And then Daphne says she's been to. This is what you call advertising, Pam, right? I've been to a shop where Pam rents a space. It's adorable, really nice stuff. I got a lion statue. Don't need any chairs. She doesn't. Yeah, you see, you guys can help one another. That's what this is all about. It's a community, right? We try to be a good community and help one another, especially with the newbies. I like newbies. I tell you guys that story all the time, but it's worth repeating. When Patrick and I first started these, he was younger, so we were a little goofier in the videos that we did until we got a call from somebody out in the Midwest near you, Andy. And I know I mentioned this before, but it's worth mentioning again. And she was supplementing her income. She's a single mother of two, supplementing with the upholstery, and she really, up until that point, which I would say maybe halfway through our YouTube videos, I don't know, half of the lifetime of the channel, maybe, she was actually learning enough to do work and support her small little family. So after that, I said, "Okay, Patrick, things have changed. We got to get a little bit more serious," because I knew people were relying on us more, and I love hearing stories like that. And Blair's story is a good one. He's a real go-getter, and he's got a good head on his shoulders. So let's read what he says. He says, "I'm almost done with this. This piece has been a royal pain in the butt." And what that translates into, you guys, is labor. He's been spending a lot of time on this. Somebody came in the shop the other day and said their buttons were popping on a job somebody did, another upholsterer. I said they're popping because he didn't make the buttons by hand. He didn't do them himself, or he let somebody else do them by hand. Don't ever listen, you guys. Don't ever let anybody else make a button for you. Make your own button. You make sure that every button is perfect, right? You hand cut the fabric and you make the button and you test each button. I've shown you how to do that. Now, Rand, and I know that Blair did it. All right, when you look at this piece, so he does a beautiful job. He gets paid. 2 weeks later, what happens? If a button pops, that's really bad. I mean, that's going to talk about uh, cutting into your profit, right? So, if you guys want to see Pamela's work lie up front, it's called Off the Common Antiques in Grafton, Massachusetts, which is in north central. Is that right, Pamela? North central Massachusetts. Grafton is near. Give us a little point of reference. What's Grafton near? So I can't think right now. Um, let's just look at he made another couple of. He's got. I want to read to you. This must be his regular post because. Okay, hold on. I can't do okay, Daphne. Why can't I see his comments? Because he must have reposted this on the Upholstery Broadway, right? And I can't get the comments. But if you guys want to see comments, he's got a really good support system behind him. He's got family and friends that are really, he just opened up this shop, and he's got a lot of family and friends behind him, and they're giving him encouragements. And what I have to say about him too is that he takes encouragement well. He's a young guy. He's only 25, but he's got the great temperament for not only this business, any business, but he really loves what he's doing, and he does woodwork too, which I never really got into that. But I was just the upholstery. But he's doing everything, and he's been posting some really good stuff. So we wish him good luck, and I like to think that I helped him a little bit. Let's go to Diane, and she says, Happy Easter, Diana. Sorry. She said, I just wanted to post some photos of the latest project to leave the shop. This is Broadway Upholstery Forum, you guys. An MCM sofa that was a total restoration. The original seat was three separate cushions that have been replaced with a single foam cushion with the bull nose, which we call a bench cushion. So a bench cushion with the bull nose, or I call it a bench cushion with the waterfall front. The deck was completely redone with webbing. The back was left as three separate cushions, but redone with custom cut foam. The show wood is black walnut, while the unseen parts are oak. This thing is built like a tank and weighs about as much as one. Yeah, she's right about that. So let's look. Let's show you the original. Well, I can't. So I'll just show you them all. So obviously the stripe is the original MCM material, but look at her job with the bench cushion. Wasn't that a smart idea, you guys? I kind of like that idea. So she really modernized it. I mean, it came out as a modern piece of furniture originally, although that fabric doesn't look modern. The original fabric, I wouldn't scream modern to me, but she really modernized it, and that's what people want now. I'm removing skirts from sofas and chairs at an incredible rate. Nobody wants skirts anymore, and I haven't done a ruffle skirt in a long time. Even for a bedroom chair, people don't want that. It's a little passe, as they say. Let me just see. I think that's it. Let me just catch up with some comments. So Deborah says she does woodworking, but I don't know if Deborah was on when I was talking about don't cut wood around your upholstered furniture, especially the dark colored, especially black, because it will just the new fabric. It will just it's like a magnet for these little dust particles of wood and even splintering. You get that. It's really hard to clean. So I was doing all morning cleaning that, and it was only from a that was on Westboro, as Pamela says, Westboro Grafton area. Yeah, okay. Now that gives me a better idea. Um, so Deborah says her wood shop is outside. That's a good idea. So I wanted to go over some things that I was. Well, first of all, I want to show you the catch you up on the wing chair that I'm doing. I got the back on it. I had Jimmy and Deborah and Daphne. Thank you for offering this. There's a. I don't know if you guys know it, but there is a shortage of AAA cotton, which is the only cotton I use on antique like this. My supplier wanted to sell me some synthetic. I said, nope, I can't do that. This is a guy's a real purist. He loves. He even kept the old tacks on the wings on this because it had rust, and that rust was the saliva of the old upholsterer. So which we figured, when you think about the upholsterer maybe in his 40s or 50s, the chairs, it's a late 1700s. I was thinking it could even be he could have even been born in the early 1700s or perhaps the late 1600s. Who knows? But he liked the idea. So this is what a purist this guy is. He liked the idea of the rusted tacks on this chair. So I'm not going to use anything synthetic on it. It's all natural so far. And I waited like a week and a half on my supply, and he still hasn't come through for me. I thought Jimmy did, and Daphne said she would have, and I appreciate that. So that's honesty too, right? I mean, could have used a synthetic, and he would have never known the difference. But that's this ethics. We have to stick to our ethics and our history. That's why Daphne and I talked a lot about this, about the history. If you're really into the history of uh, things, you want to try to keep things pure. And that's putting a synthetic cotton at this point. After I got the jute webbing on, the burlap, the horsehair. I mean, it's like you could put this out in a garden and it would just melt into the garden and not cause any problem at all. I don't know about the fabric though, because he supplied the fabric. I'm not sure if that's a synthetic. I bet there's some. So Wes says, yeah, upholstery shop is in the basement. Wood shop is in a separate building, setting up for frame buildings. You guys are a lot more ambitious than I was. I mean, at one point when I first started, we were buying frames and doing custom work. But honestly, though, I'd like to know how you guys are selling custom upholstered work. If you're doing that, are you selling to a customer um, everything right from the ground up? You're not just simply reupholstering. You're building your own frames, or you're buying frames and then selling it like that. I mean, it's hard enough selling reupholstery. I would imagine that must be a very difficult. And Wes says yes. I have an arrangement with the local refinish. I send them the woodwork, and he needs. I used to do that, Randy, because a reliable person. So you got to be careful with references. I found that out the hard way. You really have to be on your if on your references. If it's a straight out reference, you just can't just give a customer to a reference and then just be done with it. Sometimes I follow up. Hey, how did you make out with Mrs. Jones? That's important to do that because I've had a couple over the years that have let things go, and I had something really bad happen. One of my referrals lost a piece of furniture. That was really bad. So that's an example. That can reflect on you, really can. So you have to be careful. So Deborah says no new furniture, just rebuilds. Yeah, I think that's where talk about profit. I think that's where the profit is. So Hannah says we don't have a workshop at all, and this market is so ridiculous to buy a house with a workshop. Yeah, listen, it's hard enough. These small little houses. There was a small little house. I think it was like a one bedroom or a one and a half bedroom. went for $700,000 in this neck of the woods. Can you believe that, Randy? It's ridiculous. I mean, these people are, I don't understand. I guess I'm old school. I can remember when interest rates were 23%. Daphne, you don't remember that. Daphne's not that old. I don't think anybody on here is as old as I am. I'm 63. But I remember in high school, interest rates at 23%. Can you believe that? So now she says, I might. Daphne says, I might remember. I don't know. But can you imagine that? And so at that time, everybody struggled, but in a different way. It was you come up with the deposit, and you have to get your money, deposit money, and you have to make sure you have good credit and everything else. And 30-year mortgages was a standard. I mean, it's pretty standard, but the bank pretty much owned you for 30 years, and making a lot of money at that. That was the 70s, yeah, for 70. Randy says 64. First house was 18%. Can you imagine? That is a lot of money to be paying, Randy. Now, people are complaining about 5, 6%. It's crazy. But where do people get the money? Well, I'm glad there are people I'm glad there are people with money because they kind of keep us all in business, right, guys? But sometimes I scratch my head and I wonder where the money comes from. I mean, in this part of the country, people are overbidding houses by 10, 15, 20, 25%. And and they come with, now this is the part that I don't understand. It's not a world I live in. I don't own a briefcase, but they come with briefcase full of $100 bills, and they have the cash. Where does the cash come from? I don't, sight unseen and everything else. I don't understand where the cash comes from. That's I don't do that. I don't deal in a cash business. People say to me, "Hey, you want cash?" Okay, yeah, take cash, but it's the same as a check, or it's the same as putting it through in the credit card. It all goes in the same place. You know, so that's longevity too, right, guys? If you want to be around, if you want to be a fly by night, then take cash and do whatever you want with it, and buy the home your dreams, your dream home. But if you want longevity, if you want to be around, you want to be part of a community in a good way, do the right things. So Randy says that his son sold a one-bedroom condo at 4 times what he paid for it. I mean, good for him too. I mean, but where does it all end? I've seen this before. I'm old enough now to see these, right? Who was the one that said they were 64? Randy. We've seen the bubbles before, and they burst. Right? Right now, I think we're in a big bubble. But what do I know? It was like this video I did about cats. I did a video about cats as a kind of a tongue in the cheek video, and somebody said, "Hey, this guy knows nothing about cats." No kidding. I know nothing about this one I'm talking about either. We're just having fun, aren't we? Which that was brought up today too. Somebody brought up, I was laughing about these. I went into the Starbucks in Arlington. I was talking about my goose feather, my goose feather adventure all morning. And I didn't have a feather on me, of course. You can't walk into the Starbucks with feathers flying off of you. That wouldn't go over well either, because I would be the next legend of the Starbucks. Starbucks, I don't know if you guys know that. I don't. I know a little bit about the culture. When you go into a Starbucks anywhere in this country, it's kind of the same as, I love the people at Starbucks, by the way. I really do. They're usually really personable and friendly, and I like them. But do you know that there's like this culture, the Starbucks culture, and they have these stories? Did you know that? They have, like, if there's something that happens in a store in Seattle, it gets around the whole culture of Starbucks. They must have some type of Facebook, but we don't have it. It's like their own little thing. And I once asked somebody who was working in another, like a Narrows, I asked him about, why did Starbucks get rid of all their upholstered furniture? Because and he says, "Oh, you never heard of the Honey Man?" And I said, "No." It's like this Honey Man no, this is a little sad, I guess, too. But I guess there was some type of incident where a man went into a Starbucks and declothed and draped him and pour honey all over himself and all over the furniture. And they couldn't and this changed Starbucks policy. From now on, no more upholstered furniture. We're gonna do everything hard. Everything's gonna be hard seats and everything else. So isn't that funny? But I like talking to them to get these stories out of them. If you get friendly with somebody from Starbucks, you're probably guaranteed to get one of these stories. But anyhow, so Nero's is their business plan, and this kind of I want to try to keep in focus here. But we're talking business plans, right? And business. This kind of falls in a little bit to upholstery. I mentioned upholstery, so it's interesting. Starbucks has very little upholstered furniture anymore. If you've noticed, let me know. That Daphne says, I thought they didn't want people hanging out. Never heard about the honey man. And Hannah's asking, do you have a yearly subscription for your classes or it pay by each class? I wouldn't pay by each class. We do have a yearly subscription, and thanks for asking. And you should check it out on Upholstery on Broadway and go to the store. You'll see the store and check that out. I think there's great value there. Patrick's actually changed it a little bit. And Daphne is my best word of mouth. She says she has a subscription. She's totally worth it. By the way, Daphne, Jimmy's class is coming out along with everything else that you have. And Pamela says that's definitely the way to go. And Wes has a yearly subscription. Thank you, Wes. And he says it's awesome. That's the way to go. I think I've taken 4 to 5 classes already in 6 months. Thanks, Daphne. That's great. So I wanted to talk a little bit about other things that have been going on in the shop. Wow, we've been talking for a while. This is fun, you guys. It's almost like you're here with me. Jimmy's not here, so I need to replace him. Oh, and then Randy says his year just expired. You need to re-up. Thanks, Randy. I mean, it's a great resource. And I think the Facebook for you guys. Pamela says she's 64 too. Yeah. Are you finding you're getting tired though? Today was tiring for me. I had to take a little bit of a nap, I have to admit. Uh, but I still have to run around. Like I can't wait for Patrick to get back for the summer. And I'm gonna start delegating a little bit of this physical work to him. I do want to mention Jimmy and I. One of the things I wanted to mention. I don't know if Jimmy's not feeling well today because Friday we had a delivery of a sectional. This was a huge sectional. I actually made a mistake on this. I underestimated the yardage. This has been ongoing since August. The fabric was back ordered until just very recently. I got the 30 yards I thought that it would take. It actually took 40, and I had to reorder 10. Thank God it was the same dye lot. This woman's so nice that it really helped us because there was I've been having some problems with customer service lately. Of course, when you're dealing with, look at this, you guys. I mean, this is my file full of jobs. It's full of jobs. When you're dealing with this many clients, you're bound to have something that not go right. And it wasn't any fault of mine. It was back ordered that long. Thank God I could get the right dye lot. I had to do the job so big. I had to do it in sectional. This was a huge sectional. I did one. I got that delivered, and then the second one, I got to the house, and the customer had the door off. It wouldn't go out the door. She knew it wouldn't go out the door. She had the door off, and she had all the legs. These are those heavy um, not cone legs, but those heavy square legs with these 3 really. And Randy, I don't know if you've had experience with this. These 3 long, like 4-inch screws that are put on with a mega hydraulic screw gun. And somehow she had them all off except one. And if you've ever had a screw that long holding a leg on, forget it. I have a way of doing it. I kind of use leverage with the leg, and I undid it. But this was a surprise. This was a surprise on this piece. So I had to take it back with no legs, which you guys, if you've ever done a big piece of furniture with no legs, it's kind of difficult. So I had to upholster it with no legs on, then bring it back with Jimmy, and we had an awful time getting those legs back on. And then she didn't have all the screws. I don't know what happened to the screws. So we were in the house for about 45 minutes or an hour. So Jimmy bought me an ice cream after that. Yeah, but he's not here today. I don't know what happened. Well, Jimmy, if you're watching, sorry about that. But sometimes, and it was a difficult. It was heavy. It was a long walk up two sets of steps. You walk into a beautiful home. You have to be really careful not to knock anything down, knock over, and then a long hallway into the room. So we're not movers. Upholsterers aren't movers, although we could be classified as movers. It actually helped during the pandemic to be known as a mover because technically that's what I'm doing. But we're not professional movers. So I don't have you know that type of specific equipment. And most upholsterers are like that. I saw when I first started, one of my mentor who was not a mover. He lived in a four-story apartment building in Framingham, Massachusetts, and he we went out to pick up the sofa, and he handed us a roll, right, a roll of webbing, and he said, "We I know we can get the sofa won't go in the elevator, so four stories, you guys. So I know that you could tie it off with this webbing and lower it down over the balcony," which we did, which I still don't know how we did it. Can you imagine if you lived on the floors underneath and you saw, you know, Mo, Larry, and Curly lowering a sofa like that down to the ground? I mean, otherwise he has to pay what? How much does it cost, do you think, to rent one of those cranes? Uh, Wes says, "Oh wow, with webbing, yeah." And I'll tell you, in the old days when we took chances. I remember another time we went to a high rise. I'll never forget this. It was I think it was on Atlantic Ave, those Harbor Towers, Daphne. I bet you know the Harbor Towers. And this was a long time ago. And there was a sofa that we had to take out, another sofa that we had to take out way up. I can't remember what floor it was, but it was high. And guess how we got the sofa down? It wouldn't fit in the elevator. Guess what we did? And you could never do this. We rode on top of the elevator with the sofa. You want to talk about craziness, huh? Uh, that that was not worth risking your life over a sofa, but it was scary because the cables that going zooming by you, you can't hold on to the cable that's moving, so you're holding on to a sofa that's not attached to anything, and you're in the middle of this. I was terrified, but we did it. I wouldn't do it now. Price we pay. That is crazy, Daphne says. Can somebody help Hannah with that? Because Patrick's not here, and I'd like to. It would be great if they were wanting to sign up for a membership. Try at the Upholstery on Broadway. At Try that website first. But maybe Daphne can help. Thanks, Daphne. I appreciate that. Any little bit helps, right? So I do want to talk a little bit about some of the current jobs I have in shop, and about. I mean, this is it, right? So I'm juggling sofas that I've had. I want to start with this first. This has been a real problem for me, and um, I thought that I would fix a problem of storage by charging people deposits, and also I don't always do it. It's a judgment call. If I know somebody might be taking a long time, or I will do a deposit. Usually, that's a good incentive for them to get moving on a job. But it hasn't worked in the case of. Let's see. I got one sofa here that's back in May of 2020. Deposit taken, and been calling. She calls periodically, just enough to keep the communication going. But I've had those in storage until recently. I had to stop doing storage because the storage is costing money. I had to stop that. And then I got another one, sofa and a love seat, that's been going on since June 2020. Um, so we're going on this year would be 2 years on these, right? And I've had communication with her, so it's cool. It's not abandoned property at this point, but it has cost me money. You guys have to be careful of that. If you're having something in your shop that's just sitting there for a long time, you gotta re-examine how you're doing things. Usually it means that you've taken a job. In this case, I have deposits, but that the deposits have long been extinguished on this, in my opinion. I just can't. Um, I just want to get this point. I want to get them out of here. Um, so then I have estimates, and then I have an estimate pile. What I do with old estimates, I put them in the back of the pile, and then I'll revisit them. I'll look at them, and then I'll call the customer to see what's going on. Are you interested? You really have to keep up on this stuff. Sometimes, so I think the other day I had 6 estimates, older estimates. They start getting older. These are good leads. They might have been people who even came in. They are people who came in. Anytime I have a hard copy, they're people who actually came in. So it's a good lead. I had 6. I called, and I think 2 people came back and did it. But the other 4, I just have to put them in somewhere else. So I put them in kind of a dead file. I don't throw anything away because you never know, right? So Deborah says, "This is good. I didn't know this, that you have to keep customers' furniture for 3 years before it's considered abandoned. I didn't know that. That makes sense to me. Thanks, Daphne, for helping." And Pamela says that Jimmy is the best. Why is Jimmy the best? I'll tell you. When it comes to these online classes, I think that's what Pamela is referring to. I think that the reason that you guys will like it, and by the way, the other people on these are good too. But Jimmy comes fresh, even though he's my age, but he's very willing to learn and eager, and I think in good nature. On the online classes, we don't do what we do on the question and answer. We kind of go back and forth and make fun of each other sometimes. Not on the online classes, but what you see with him is his good nature and learning. He really wants to learn. He really tries. He really tries. And I think that his mistakes really are good learning moments for you guys when you're watching this. That you don't make those mistakes. I jump in when I jump in a lot when I see there's a mistake, or sometimes I let a mistake go so that Jimmy benefits from doing it over again. I think that's what makes you a good upholsterer, doing things over that you've done and being your own critic. I just took this chair apart. I just did a task on this chair, the inside back. I did the whole thing, and I didn't like. There was an area I didn't like. I took the whole thing apart to get it just right. That you have to do that. You have to be self-correcting. And Jimmy is willing to do that. He's willing to put the time in. So I think you guys will benefit from that. And what does that make you? That will poor Jimmy is he's the lab rat that you guys are watching. And what does that mean for you? That you're not going to make the mistakes that he makes. You're going to learn from Jimmy's mistakes when you watch it. That's why it's worth a little. That's why there's some value to it. And that's why we charge for it. Not to mention Patrick's incredible camera angles, which if you've seen the YouTube videos, we get complaints about my hands in the way, my head's in the way, my whatever's in the way. And it's a valid point. But the YouTube videos are not like the online classes. The online classes, we pay a lot more attention to the camera angles. So we got an estimate there that's from 412. So I'll let that ride a little bit. That's still a little early. Maybe by the end of the month, I'll call her. And then I got, this is what I do. She's not in a stapling stage yet, this person. So what I do is I've stapled some estimates together. And look at you guys. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 estimates sitting here, right? This one goes back to March. And just to give you an approximate, that's 2,000, that's 2,500, that's 3,000, that's 6,000, that's 7, 8, 9, 10, 10,000, 11,000. This was a big job. Oh, this 18,000. Wow. That's probably why they're still sitting there, because they're too much money for people. 18, another 2, that's 20. I mean, I got like $24,000 just sitting right here, which you know, so we don't get all of the estimates. So I got this stapled together because I've already called. I've called. I got it notes. Then I put little notes on my estimates. So I don't want to be. I don't want to call somebody again without realizing I already called them. So that can happen. I don't have a photographic memory. I wish I did. So I put a lot of notes on these hard copies. People probably go, "Why is he doing hard copy?" Right, Randy? The hard copies back up the text messages and the other communications you've had with the people. I keep telling I want Patrick and Michaela to get better at this because they rely on those stupid devices too much. I have a love-hate relationship, as you guys know with this, but I think you really need some backup hard copy, especially when you're working, right? You guys, you're working on a project. Isn't it nice to have a hard copy? You post it, sometimes I put it up on the board near me on the wall, just to reference it once in a while, just to make sure that you're still following the instructions. You wouldn't believe how easy it is to misinterpret even your own to forget about your own instructions. It's crazy. Don't do that. I knew a company that I'll just tell you the name of the company, Fabric Place. In this before, I know there's another one that opened, but I'm not talking about that place. Before they used to have like 5 or 6 stores, and they were a company. They were a pretty good company, making money. And then all of a sudden, they wanted to do upholstery work, and we upholsterers thought they were crazy because this is a game that everybody thinks it's easy. It looks easy, but it isn't easy, right, guys? And so they open up this. They take in this upholstery work, and at the same time they were doing drapery. They decided to do draperies, and so it turns out that they made more money doing that, but it took a lot of pain. They went through a lot of pain, and the pain came in not following instructions and having salespeople write these and not an upholsterer. And the salesperson never, no offense to a salesperson, but they never asked the right questions to a customer. So things were getting, in the beginning of their little venture, they had a room full of mistakes, and they hired two of their best upholsterers, by the way, to fix the problems and to do it in a timely fashion, like we were talking about. But you talk about a painful lesson. But when they started moving along, it became their most profitable thing that they did. Let's catch up on some messages. Pamela, you hit that one right there. Jimmy asks great questions, and I'll tell you why that's important. When I was learning, I had like a 1 or 2 question maximum each day. You couldn't ask the upholsterer too many questions because then you're a pain in the butt, and they don't want to deal with you. You had to be real careful with the questions, and they finally would say to you if you had too many questions, "You figure it out. What do you think?" They don't want to answer you, but I answer Jimmy's questions. That's the difference right there. Jimmy, he's a bright guy, and he asks great questions. You're right, Pamela. That's what makes it good. So Randy says you convinced me to go buy some Carbonist proposal forms to keep notes and write estimates on, quick, easy, and simple. Yeah, that's what these are. Customer gets a copy, by the way. Customer gets a copy of my scribble. I call it my scribble. I sometimes will say to a customer, "Here's your copy." It's a yellow copy, and I said most of this is for me, but it has the main things. It has the labor and how many yards of fabric you need. So I just hand it to them. And at the end of the job, I will type up a nice looking invoice. So you're ahead of me on that game. That's what Patrick's going to have to start doing for me, I think. I don't do that myself, but he should. It actually makes you look good. Randy says he is a serial killer writing. I guess that's your manifesto. Your manifesto, Randy. Yeah, Randy's funny. He's a funny guy. I could tell. You're a funny guy, not in a way, a clown way, not in a clown way. You're not funny like a clown, Randy. You're just a funny guy. Let me just see. Oh boy, we've been talking for a while. Let me just get through. So let me just get through some of these. So this is an estimate for a 3-seat, 3-back sofa for 2,200. That's probably why. Piano bench guy never came back. 525. Which wasn't a lot of money. And then another job here for 3,000. I was offering. Sometimes I offer slip covers, although I don't like doing it. But sometimes people really insist. She has 2 chairs that she wants upholstered and slip covered. So how can I say no to that, right? So just an example, a little tidbit. I think though, this has been really interesting. I like what we did today, and I think we talked a lot about upholstery, which is probably important. I know sometimes we get off subject, but I like talking about the dynamics that the styles of businesses that are out there and everything. Randy says, Diana from Facebook is the good-looking half of Esquire Upholstery. Oh, is that your business partner, Randy? I didn't know that. Um, and I think we're caught up, you guys, and I probably don't want to go too much longer because I don't want to bore you guys to death. But this has been fun, and I really am surprised sometimes that I could talk for an hour and 15 minutes and stay mostly to the point. I know we drift without Jimmy here, especially. So thanks again for joining me, you guys. And oh, that's your wife, Randy. Okay. That's nice having your wife, family business, helping you out. That's nice. So thanks, you guys, and I'll see you later. Bye, Daphne. Thanks, Daphne.